Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am here experimenting, and I thought I'd let you watch me experiment with this project that I have in my head. I have always wanted to rip strips for a rag quilt. Now I know people say, "Don't, you can't rip the fabric, it weakens the threads and all this and that, and it damages for a good inch. When you rip it." Yeah, it's exactly what I'm looking for. Exactly. So I've always been determined to find a way to use ripped strips where people won't freak out. Because some people, that's how you get on the grain. You rip the strip. But most quilters will rip to get on the grain, and then they cut a good inch after that because they don't want the weakened edge. Yeah, whatever. Some people just go ahead with the weakened edge. It's not a crime. I have a piece of batting here that I just sewed together just because I wanted to see the size I have. This is going to be just a small sample size that I will end up washing and drying because I want to see if the ripped fabric will fray better. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it will because the ends will be weakened. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. But I'm going to make this little tiny quilt that is going to belong to a little tiny kitten. I guess, I don't know. And I want it to be very simple. So I'm going to do this, I'm using this because it's just right there next to me on the bed. And then the backing is going to be muslin and a strip of muslin in the middle. So we're going to have cats, a strip of muslin in the middle, just so we can see the how it frays and stuff, and then just all muslin. I thought somebody was talking. Just all muslin on the back. So let me do some measuring. I don't know, maybe, yeah, let me measure. I'll be right back. All right, I just measured this, and it's about, what did I just say? I have to measure this way. It's about 14, almost 14 inches. So I could do 6 inches, 6 inches, 2 inches, finished size. So I'm going to fold this, and I'm just going to cut 6 inches, but I'm going to do it this way. Or maybe a little shy of 6, I don't know. You don't have to do this part. This is just experimenting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 12, and then 2 inches for 14. That doesn't leave me. I'm going to do it a little bit smaller. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do that. That's 10. I would leave 4 inches in the middle. I'm doing that. Let's see, let's start you there. Alright, so there's my center, and I don't care that there's a seam in there. So I need to make strips that are going to be bigger than these, wider than these, because I usually cut a whole inch wider when I'm just cutting fabric. So like if I was doing an 8-inch square that was going to be part of a rag quilt, I would cut a 10-inch square of fabric with an 8-inch square of batting. So you'd have a whole inch on each side all the way around, right? I think that's the way I do it. And if I'm ripping, then I might even want a little bit more. I'd be curious to see how much it frays. All right, first let's get the grain of the fabric. Let's start with the muslin. And I'll show you what I'm talking about for the grain. When we buy fabric, it can be off grain, meaning it's, let me get my iron turned on, hang on. Off grain just basically means that it's, it's woven, but that it's off, the weave is off. So we want to get it to the point where we can take one thread, and see that thread just broke instantly. It doesn't go all the way across. You want to be able to get to the point where you can take a thread and go all the way across, and this is not working because it's got broken threads all throughout. It's off grain. So I'm going to just snip a little bit. It doesn't have to be much to start. And I'm going to rip this. Okay, it did not rip all the way across. So it was very off grain. So I'm going to take another piece, snip. Okay, that one, it worked all the way across, saving this. So we are on grain now, but we have a lot of threads. We pull all those threads out, and we are on grain. Now I'm going to show you, well, let me show you on the scraps because it's going to be easier to put up to the camera. So when you rip, you get these little frayed ends, and that's what freaks people out because they say, you know, you've damaged the threads and, you know, they're not good anymore. And it doesn't really damage much. You can see the little ripply, you know, things. So that's fine. And, you know, I like ripping strips. And it's pretty accurate. So if I want, let's just say I want a 3-inch strip, I would just count 1, 2, 3, I'd make a snip, and it would give me a 3-inch strip because it's on grain and it knows where to rip the threads apart and it keeps it there. But now I want, let's start with the skinny one so then I won't waste. If I want, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, like 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. So realistically I want a 5.5 inch strip, I think, is what I'm saying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Yeah, so that would be, I'm going to rip a 5.5 inch strip. Where's my iron? I've actually come to learn that I can press quickly. It curls it up a little bit, but then it goes back down. And these mats are so old that I don't even care. So, see, it looks like the fabric is crooked, but it's on grain. So, because let me see, if I take a thread, will it go all the way across? It should, if I get one. There we go. Yeah, all the way across. So I just want to do this. I'll measure this. 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. And I should be able to make my center piece. I am going to cut the selvage, and I can rip that too. Ooh, I don't want to lose all my threads because I do need to sew this. Alright, so we're done. And then I'm going to want 1.5 inches, top and bottom, about. That looks good. So let me do that. Oops, and do that. Now I need 2 of these because we're making the little sandwich, like doing a rag quilt, but like a strip rag quilt. So now I need another piece like this. Let me just measure off this one. Now you could just cut across. I just want to rip the threads because I want to see if that will rag in a different way. Okay, so I'm going to make my first little sandwich. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this here, and I'm going to quilt by just going down the center on my batting. That's going to hold that batting in place. I'm excited. What I did is I took the top piece and I folded it in half lengthwise, and I just finger pressed and made a line. So that's the line I sewed on. I just kind of eyeballed it and put the, I don't know if you can see through this, I can. I just, you know, I can feel that's about even. Doesn't have to be perfect. I have threads everywhere. Okay, so our center piece is done. Now we're going to do 2 pieces on each side of these, and we want 2 inches bigger than this. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want my strip to be about 7 inches. First I gotta find if it's off grain, which they almost always are. So I'm just gonna take a piece and rip. Oh wow, it's getting wider and wider, so yeah, very off grain. Okay, see, this is what I cut, and this is what the selvage is on the other side, so it's very off grain. Not even. Now it's on grain because it went through the whole fabric, selvage to selvage. If it breaks, that means it's not on grain. You have to snip another little piece and do it again. So I said 7 inches. 2 tables put together and I feel like I don't have any room. Okay, I'm just gonna go by the selvage. You don't have to worry about anything being straight up there. It's just gonna rip evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm gonna snip on the 5-inch and rip. And you can rip right through the selvage too. So that's going to give us enough for one of these. I am going to cut the selvage off, or rip it off. I'm going to eyeball this, and I've got a good inch there, and like up here. Rip that. Lots of crap. You don't have to pull these. You can just snip those off. It's all going to come out in the wash anyway. Okay, and now let me match this up to this and do the same. I like this. But we have no clue how it's going to turn out. So again, what I did is, let's just take one. I finger pressed. Yeah, we want the sandwich. We didn't have to worry about that with the muslin, but we want the right sides facing out. So, like this, and then I just fold it in half-ish. Finger press. Press with the iron if you want, and I don't need to. And I'm just, again, just going to do one line down the center. That's all the quilting I'm doing for this. I'm eyeballing that, and I think I eyeballed it good enough. And then this, I'm opening it up, putting it there, and I'm going to sew down the crease. And this is what I have. I'm going to make another one like this off camera, just like this. Okay, here's a good example of what everyone means when you damage the fabric. See, I ripped the selvage off, and you can see how that is faded there, and yeah, so if you were making a quilt, see, I can see that it has, I can't tell, it has pulled down through. You know, like if you sometimes don't cut through your fabric, and instead of making sure you cut it, you just like kind of like pull it apart, and you get that. The thread breaks and it goes down, and it does that kind of stuff. But that's what we're looking for this project. I just took a break and did some editing, and I noticed that I said, when I was measuring this, I said 1.5 inches, but I meant and did 1 inch, and I left a caption on the video, but not everybody reads, you know, some people just listen to my videos. So anyway, just to let you know, I misspoke there. And then I totally forgot that I wanted to do the back as muslin. I wanted all muslin on the back, but so this is fine. It's just that I just forgot what I wanted to do. Now here's what we're doing. We're just going to sew these together, rag quilt style. So if you have muslin or something else on one side, you just want your right side up, okay? In my case, it doesn't matter. And you do this, you pull it like this. And this is where you're going to sew. You're going to sew on the right side. Your right side of your fabric is up, and if you have something that matters on the back, you want that facing up too. And I'm just going to sew here. And I'm going to go right close to my batting. If you hit your batting a little bit, that's okay. You just don't want a whole lot of batting sticking out because, well, mine is 100% cotton, so it will actually not fray, but it will roll up a little bit. I don't care about that. I'm just going right up to close to the batting. So now we have something that looks like this. This is the front side. We're going to be snipping all this stuff. And if you are doing bigger pieces, you can always just do some more quilting if you want your batting to stay in place. Again, this is just practice, so I'm not going to get that involved. So now I'm going to do the same here. And I'm going to pick it up like this. I want the right sides facing. I'm going to sew right there. And we have this. I wish my center strip would have been a little bit more narrow, so I guess I could have done it the way I wanted to do it in the first place. Now see, this is the back side. If you rather have the back side, there's no law saying that you can't put it down that way. But this is a rag quilt, and we're supposed to like the ragging part. Now I'm going to be snipping this, but I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow to wash it because we're going someplace. And I will wash it and come right back in this same video, come back when my laundry's done. But to snip, we're going to just do regular snipping. I'm going to just cut, I like to do maybe 1/4 of an inch. Some people do a 1/2 inch. You can do a messy, some 1/2 inches, some 1/4 inches. And you just want to snip up to your thread, but you don't want to snip through your thread. If you do, just go back to your machine and sew another line. I'm going to snip this, and then I'm going to snip all the way around the edges. I might be able to do that right now and show you in just a second. I forgot something. We have to sew all around the edge. I was going to snip and I'm like, wait, this stuff is flopping around. So I'm just going to go to the machine and sew all the way around, and then I will finish snipping. I snipped it all. There, and all the way around. I don't think it's going to be any better than what we've been doing, the old-fashioned way, but I really like ripping the rows. I think that's quicker, and yeah, I guess you could do what you want. But I will be back. Come back when my laundry is done tomorrow. I'm going to have this for you. We're going to wash it and dry it at least once. I don't know if I'm going to go twice. Oh my God, I'm covered. I'm covered with threads. And we're going to take a look at it and see how it comes out. Be right back. It is the next day and I'm back with this. Nothing special happened. The ragging is just like the regular ragging. I thought maybe it would rag extra easily because the threads were weakened, but I don't see any difference. This is quite sloppy because, like I said, it was just an experiment thing. One thing, though, that I learned is that I do absolutely love ripping strips for scrappy projects. So I'm glad that I tried this. And you know, when I said this would be nice for, like, I don't know if I said a kitten or a small cat, I was just thinking of a small animal. I didn't even realize that there are cats, there's cats. So I have this on eBay, starting at 1 penny, free shipping. If you have a small pet, you think they might like this, I know they'll like it. You can go bid on it. It's about $14 by 12. 14, not including the raggedy edge, and 12, not including the raggedy edge. So this is the back side. You can use it either way you want. It could also make a hot pad for a big pot or a crock pot or something on a table. And yes, some of the batting is bunched up. Again, I didn't care. A cat will love it. They will absolutely love it. I wonder why this side bunched up. This didn't. Right there, bunched up. But it's very soft and it's cute, and somebody will want it. So, like I said, starts at a penny, free shipping. For USA, outside USA would have to pay shipping. And I wanted to also mention that I have this fabric for sale on eBay, also the muslin that I used, and I will absolutely cut, you know, a good amount off because I ripped that, and I know some people would be freaked out if they got a ripped edge. You're not going to get a ripped edge. I sell them in 2-yard cuts. And so that's, I think, all that I need to say. Oh no, one more thing. The most exciting thing is it gave me ideas about doing some other stuff with ragging, and I'm going to be doing that soon. And I might even use that with crumb quilting. It's going to be interesting. Subscribe and you won't miss it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Oh, eBay link for the auction is in the description. Bye!